Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Caleb Davis Show. With me as always, J-Mo.
What's up? What's up?
Looking a little lighter, J-Mo.
Oh, everybody take a look here at the noggin.
Look at there.
It's very spherical.
It
very
is.
Shavid.
You're fortunate to have such a round head, young man.
Thank you. Appreciate
So
that.
what happened?
Well, it was a number of different things. So I'll just give you two.
A number of reasons, eh?
Yeah, and I feel like I'm already in like top 5 mode.
Well,
so
I'll give you the number one reason.
The number one reason that I shaved my head. No, it was hot. That was one of them. This was kind of a last hurrah. I'm 35, last hurrah in life. I didn't want to, it's getting kind of thin, a little widow's peak action here in the front. And the hair was starting to break and look a little stringy in the front portion.
I'll level. I don't buy any of those reasons.
Okay.
Because you've had several years of it being summertime with that long hair.
No, I know. Yeah.
And you have a very thick head of hair.
No, the front really
son of
was. Yes. I mean, I get that I'm not like losing my hair.
Yeah.
But the front was not, it was not ideal.
Well, the fantastic thing is that the handsomeness doesn't require long or short. Handsome is handsome. Am I right?
Comment below.
Comment below. Is Justin handsome? Shoot us the comments below. You know what I'm saying?
Here. That's right.
Well done. Jay, we got, what you drinking out of there, Holmes?
This is a Folgers mug. Wait a minute.
Oh, snap.
That's a Caleb Davis music mug. Ta-ching.
Boy.
That's right.
Boy.
You can order these. I hope, can you?
You can definitely order these
Yeah.
at calebdavismusic.com.
Caleb, what's that on your head?
Oh, everybody knows this is my Braves hat that I wear all the time.
That is your flat bill.
Wait a second. It's not my Braves hat.
It's Great Odin's Raven.
What?
That's
The sweet traveling mercies is going on right now.
a hedge of protection right there.
Woo, brethren.
Look at that thing.
That is a Caleb Davis Music hat.
That's a cap
And
there,
folks, let me tell you, this is a cool hat.
Mm-hmm.
And I have lots of them. I have red ones. I have white ones. I have trucker. I have flat bill. I have whatever that in-between one's called.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Also available
Mesh back front flap.
Mesh-
I don't know.
at calebdavismusic.com.
Yeah.
You can buy them today. You can buy one for grandma. You can buy one for your kid's birthday. You can buy one for the whole family for Christmas.
You can buy 2 and get 2 for the price of 2.
Oh, that's a good joke.
I mean, you can.
That's a good joke. You invented that on the spot.
Right on the fly.
Man, 2 for the price of 2.
2 for the price of 2.
Woo!
Only tonight. So just go ahead and hop online now.
That's right. It's
Get one now.
It's true.
Get one, get a red one, get a white one for your friend. Get 2 for the price of 2.
There you go. There you go. Listen, folks. Today, Jay,
Yes.
we're jumping into another top 5. You ready for this madness?
I am ready. This one's going to get me a little bit outside of my comfort zone.
Fantastic.
And I'm excited about it. I'm ready.
Take us there. What are we doing?
Ready to be
What's our
vulnerable.
top 5?
Today is top 5 favorite drummers. Drummers, folks. No riffage, no guitars, drums. You know what I'm saying? Top 5 drummers. That's what we're doing today.
You know what? I'm pretty excited about this because I am pretty passionate about drummers.
Yes.
Well,
They're a rare bunch, drummers. You don't get many of them. And it's because how much stuff they have. That's why you don't have so many drummers. It's not because people don't want to play drums or guitars that much cooler. It's because if you decide you want to be a drummer, you're committing to having not enough space for the rest of your life.
it's so true.
Every rehearsal you go to, you're going to be crammed in a corner somewhere. You're not going to have enough space. In your house, you're going to have a whole room dedicated to drums. So that's why there's not many
You're going to have to
drummers.
worry about volume all the time.
Everybody's going to be like, hey, you're too loud and you're speeding up.
And then people are going to always come to you and say, but electronic drums are really not that much different.
Yeah. Listen, I'm no
seriously,
drummer.
Van Halen recorded the first 6 albums on electronic drums. That's awesome.
Did they really? Though?
Yeah, but good for them. I'm not going to. I mean, like, okay, give them a pat on the back.
That's right.
They're
Just
freaking
'cause
Van
you're-
Halen. They had a lot of budget to work with. They had producers doing good stuff. Whatever.
Absolutely.
You know, whatever. So look, here's the thing, folks.
Yeah.
To get this going, now I have played drums since I was a teenager, but I primarily make my livings, as it is, playing the old 6-stringer. So we thought it would be really appropriate to bring in a special guest who is a legend in our area, and truth be told, he's probably just a legend.
Period. No geographical restrictions.
You know, but again, he's not here because I guess, like drummers, he's running late. So what I wanted to do is, we thought we should tell a couple drummer jokes to kind of make fun of him a little bit.
That would be good.
So how about this, Jay? How do you know if a drummer's knocking at the door?
Oh, I've heard that one. Was that a...
What was that?
Yeah, that's
Wait a
right.
minute. Is that wait? How do you know if a drummer's knocking at the door?
Because it sounds like a dope beat.
What?
Yeah. That's right.
What is that?
Who
Ladies
do we
and
got
gentlemen.
here?
Oh boy.
What's up? There he is.
Back to poison.
It's so good to see him. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald, the United States Marshall is here. Rolling in on his
The balloon.
balloons, hyper speed bike, RX-16.
That was the first electric bike.
First electric bike, the balloon. That's actually.
Well, when I was a
Yeah, that's the one, man. Mr. Donnie.
How's it going?
Good.
Let me put my bike up. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Bike rack.
Take care of yourself.
So Donnie, as you're parking this bike, I have to ask, how was your commute?
Yes.
Great, man. No traffic. Took all the back roads.
Great.
You know,
Great,
trails,
great.
greenways. Greenways.
All the way to G-Town.
Oh, yeah, you could
Via
take-
Greenway.
Oh yeah, they're
That's
getting
right.
huge now.
There you go.
Everybody goes, you know.
Scoot in here a little bit, Donnie. Make sure we're in here nice and tight.
Make sure we got the shot. Yeah.
That's
Good.
Gonna make
Good
sure.
stuff.
There you go. Now, where'd you get that, Donnie?
There.
Dude, should we all just pose real quick? Look at this. This is special. Lean in here, Jay. Lean in here. Look at this.
Oh, what a shot.
Man,
What a
this
picture that is.
propaganda is what it is.
Now,
It is.
Prop.
Aganda. That's right.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys know.
Man, I have to say, it tastes better out of that.
It does. It tastes like it's a robust, full musical experience of caffeine.
It's decaf. It's caffeinated. It is caffeinated.
It's a whole
fact, Jack.
swath of flavor.
Nice stuff out here.
Donnie, listen, we try to decorate this appropriately for the subject that
Oh, yeah.
we're going
That's
into.
right.
So yes,
Yeah,
there are
man.
there's a gong mallet here,
Mm-hmm.
some marching things.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that is.
That's
Some marching things.
No,
the
I'm
output
kidding.
here is a
That's a
little
fat
high.
drive. Yeah, there you go. But we got, we're represented with Jimmy Cobb and Elvin Jones,
yeah,
John
all the
Bonham,
best.
Matt Cameron,
Carter
Carter
Bielfeld.
Beauford,
With Fox.
and why not a little bit of Arnold Schoenberg's Fundamentals of Music Composition?
That's right.
That has nothing to do with anything. I love Arnold Schoenberg, so
That's the fundamentals. It's the fundamentals.
That's right.
You
It's
gotta
basic.
have the
it's
fundamentals.
mentals.
The
What the word in there is mental, as
Yeah.
if you're mental if you're not having fun with this exercise.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you just use the word fun? Get
That's
out.
right. Get out of here.
Remember that?
No, no.
The Office. Oh.
I've never
Anyway.
I've never seen The Office.
Oh.
Really?
Not one episode.
Oh, that's a funny show.
It is
it's
good.
it's a fine show. Donald,
Yes, sir.
the reason we're here is to talk drummers today.
That's right.
And we thought there was no better expert in this area than yourself. And we're pleased to have you on the show.
Yes,
so thanks for
absolutely.
joining us.
Thanks for having me. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about you before we jump right into our top 5. I want to go ahead and get one thing straight.
So Jim Brock must be on the road or something.
Jim Brock called and said he couldn't do it.
That's right. What's up, Jim?
Jim, if
Miss
you're
you,
watching
bud.
this, love you, brethren. Yeah. Which, by the way, so folks, we do a we're going to do at some point an Allman Brothers tribute show that's now been canceled 3 times.
Yeah, that's
And when we do this show, Donnie and the aforementioned Jim Brock are both our drummers, and it's just that's just a little too good to be true.
It's dope.
At the same time,
It is. I mean, it's just incredible. It was going to be a great show 3 times.
Oh man, 3 times.
Three times it was going to be awesome. Oh, that means the 4th time it's going to be even better.
Really,
But
I'll have it down.
if it ever happens. You know, here's the sad thing, and I'll go ahead and tell you guys this. I've already made the call in my mind that if anybody actually makes a mistake that night, it's probably just going to be punishable by 40 stripes minus 1. What was it Paul had? He suffered at the hands of the Romans. 40 stripes minus 1. You know, it's like
it will be bad news.
there's no way we can be that ready and
No
still mess
messing
up.
up.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But when you're doing Allman Brothers, are there bad notes?
No.
You never know it.
Yeah, it's a fact.
You would not.
So, look here, Donnie. Let's clear this up. Is it true that at a time you were the most recorded drummer in history?
Well, I don't know about that. That's what the article said. Of course, you can't believe anything.
Mm.
It's before the internet, so it was.
But
It was in a magazine.
But I want to know what you think. Do you think at one point in time you were the most recorded drummer in
Well,
history?
you know, I was probably up there with some of the guys recording, but what I was doing was it was in the recording business, and it was a part of the music world, playing all genres of every style of music that you could possibly imagine. But we were recreating those songs. So there was a lot of songs to recreate.
Like
obviously.
karaoke stuff?
Karaoke. It was a karaoke company here in town, and they were the largest. They were the largest in the world, matter of fact.
Oh wow.
And it was called Sound Choice. And the studio was right outside of Charlotte. And I worked there for a long time, many years. It actually started at Carowinds theme park, and you walked into a booth, right? And you go in there and you push record and you sing along with songs.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you get your little, I think it was a cassette tape maybe. I don't really remember. I never did it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that company grew into the world's largest karaoke
Wow.
company. So I was recreating sometimes 15 up to 30 songs a week for years. I mean, years. The catalog is huge.
Sure.
And eventually they got bought out by another large company, and it ended. But it was a long run, it was a lot of work.
man.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I was telling a friend about that, and he knows. You remember Adam does our photos and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I was telling Adam that we were having you on the show tonight, and I was telling him about this article that came out, and I told him, I was like, it was literally everything from Slipknot to like Taylor Swift and like everything in between.
Everything and the old stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, and they ended up doing stuff like they would do packages for music therapy companies.
Oh wow.
So we'd go in and they called it geriatric, like geriatric, but it was geriatric. And so, but it's real. It's the real deal, and you know, and it's actually legit stuff where people go get a degree in music education and music therapy.
Yeah.
So they would take these songs into retirement homes and play them, and they would, you know, they had probably sat there for years and not said a word, and no movement, no anything.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden they started playing this music and songs that they used to know when they were in their childhood, when they were growing up, and they would kind of start tapping their foot and bring them back to life, right?
Oh,
So they get
wow.
all energized and sing the words, but you know, but before that, they hadn't said nothing in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So it works. And
That's
it
awesome.
works. So what we would do, we'd take a really a standard back in the day, and do a really calm instrumental version of it. Real short, just to get the melody so they can recognize it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what they still do it.
That's pretty
But
cool.
we used to do that as well. So.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's way cool.
One of the things I told him though, because he said his response was, you know, I know Donnie's awesome, but I can't imagine Donnie playing metal.
You know,
And you know what I told him? Here's what I told him. I was like, here's the thing, brother. Donnie didn't play metal. Donnie saw dots on a page and did what the dots said to do.
That's what I did.
He charted it out.
Yeah.
I had to.
Donnie sat down, and if it said we're going to do 16th note double basses at 200 beats per minute, you know, then Donnie just wrote it out and he recreated it. He didn't play metal. He read the sheet and played it.
Yes, I did, and I had to. And you're right. I'm really not a metal drummer at all. I think some of these guys are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, the techniques that they have and the speed and endurance. I'm not that kind of a player.
Right.
Yeah.
But you read
was
it
a
on the
job.
page and you played it.
Well, I had to.
Yeah.
But I was in such a mode of just listening, writing, and for years. And so many songs a week that I really did. I had to, had to do that. And Slipknot was, there's 2 or 3 drummers in that band, right?
I don't even know.
Oh,
Yeah, there
sure.
is. There actually is. But there was a funny story about that. This guy, my partner in this book,
What
he
book?
writes. I just happen to have one.
Donnie, you have a book?
Look
It's a
at
published
Donnie's book.
It's a published book. It's called Classic Rock Drummers, which I'm really not. But I
at
enjoy
that.
all the old greats. It's called Classic Rock Drummers, the way they play. So it's basically not an educational book. It's just in the style of these guys, how they did that, what kind of equipment, cool stories about them. Ken, my partner, who is actually the one. He writes for Rolling Stones, Downbeat. He writes Modern Drummer. All the guitar. He writes for everybody, and is in New York. And he actually came up with the idea.
Oh, wow.
And I was in Charlotte at the time, working for the karaoke company. So I had access to the studio. So we came up with a list of drummers. And I recorded 3 or 4 tracks per drummer.
Yeah.
And then notated all of it so you can kind of follow along with the CD. It comes with the CD.
Looks like the gang's all here.
John,
yeah.
Bonham, Moon,
That's
Starr,
some
Pace,
of 'em.
Mitchell, Baker, Watts, Copeland. I mean, yeah.
Ginger
sure.
Baker.
Jeff Beccaro.
Man,
There's a list back here of some of these guys. There's probably
Oh, yeah.
Ringo, of course, Charlie Watts, Mitch Mitchell, Richie Hayward, Little Feat, Ian Pace,
Yep.
Deep
Ian-
Purple.
I love Ian Pace,
Oh,
by
he's
the way.
great.
I like Richie Hayward, man.
He's the lefty.
Oh yeah. But and try to create some of that stuff that these guys did was just it was extremely challenging, and I learned an awful lot. But
The Charlie Watt thing, you don't ever play the hi-hat with the snare?
yes, like.
That's right.
But it sounds so great.
That's right.
But Ken actually did an article about he came down to Charlotte. They flew him down to do an article about this studio and about the band. This like the world's most unheard band, right? Famous band, and
Yeah.
In the day I'll never forget the day he came in there. It was the day we actually did a Slipknot song.
Really?
And I was like, man, really? Did you have to do that? So. Because I remember this one drum fill in this song, and it's and it goes back to the top or the intro or the verse or something, and it's just like, and I was like, I can't do that. I mean, I can't do that. There's just no way I can do that.
Yeah.
So I put it on paper, and then I actually practiced that, so I had to.
Yeah.
I'm not a big double bass player. I can play it if I have to.
Right.
But and I teach it, but I don't. I'm just not.
You're an old school guy.
You
got the single foot pedal rocking so fast it doesn't really matter.
Well, no, but that's just that's how I learned, and
Right.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome.
It's a pretty cool book.
So check out Donnie's book here, Classic Rock Drummers.
The way they play.
The way they play.
Featuring all the classic drummers, and it's cool stories about them.
Very cool.
Interesting songs that you'll recognize a lot of these.
I tell you what I'm excited about. All of the time and energy that you spent listening, notating, recreating, evaluating classic drummers, and then explaining what it is that they're doing is going to be a tremendous aid in tonight's conversation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's truly.
Yeah.
I've been all day jacked to hear Donnie's top 5.
Absolutely.
And hear what he has to say about these dudes. So,
Absolutely.
There's so many drummers out there. You ask top 5, that's difficult.
Yeah. So, and real quick, a story. So about Donnie, we were a part of all the 3 of us were, and one of the other guests, actually 2 of the other guests that have been on the show, Davey Rode and Croy Presley.
Croy Presley, yeah.
We were all a part of a truly magical evening where we recreated the White Album from top to bottom. And I'm gonna tell you, folks, I don't know that I've ever heard of anyone else ever recreating the White Album. I just don't. I mean, have you ever heard of anybody doing that?
No.
It was not something that was easy to do, and I'll tell you this: anybody who's a player who's worked in any kind of setting with other musicians knows the foundation, the fundamentals of getting a solid band has to begin with the drummer. That is the most important person in the band, and this is coming from a guy who makes his pennies playing guitar and singing. I'm telling you, the most important person is not the dude up front. The most important person is the guy in the back. It's that drummer. And Donnie, you know, I really, like I said, I did not know what we were getting into because it was uncharted territory trying to put that obscure of an album together. And I've never done, we've put lots of albums together, but nothing that ambitious. You know, that was really odd. And
you had to recreate that stuff because everybody knows it.
Yeah.
They know
exactly.
every lick. They know every
You can't
word,
screw it
they
up.
know every drum fill. They know every all the you know. It's just so signature. Every
Signature's
song's
a good
signature,
word.
you
Yeah.
know?
So Donnie shows up to our first rehearsal and pulls out this TV of an iPad and has the entire show just already completely. Now, did Donnie go online and find some sheet music? No, he didn't. He got on a plane. You're flying somewhere.
Yeah, I was. I was going to Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Scotland. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Scotland,
He got on a plane, stuck his earbuds in, put the White Album on, and pulled out a pencil and paper, and just started charting away. No drums, no, just started charting away. And Donnie had this entire album charted by the time he landed back in the States. He did it on the way to Scotland.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the whole show is on YouTube somewhere. You can, if you search Caleb Davis White Album, you can find it.
It's all on there. Live.
And Donnie doesn't miss. I mean, and actually, I would say that a couple little things here and there, but I mean, to be expected when you have a one chance, you know, to get it right. We didn't do a tour of this show. We did it one night.
Yeah.
And we got like, all right, boys, here we go. Ready?
Let's do it.
Back in the USSR.
Yeah.
And then it's like we ended with good night, and that was it. Donnie nailed it.
He did.
And he was and that's where he earned his title, Donnie United States Marshal.
That's right. I'll tell you this, man. Standing up in front of drums behind you with Donnie cracking on a snare is a different experience.
Well, I hear
That's
good
a whole
and bad
other
things.
feel,
I hear
man.
good and bad things about that.
No, listen, I've played in small clubs with Donnie too. Here's the difference. There's a difference in, this is going to be profound. Are you ready?
Yeah.
There's a difference in a loud playing drummer and an in charge drummer.
Yeah.
Donnie doesn't bother people when he hits that snare because it's an in charge snare.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing that says, "Here's your backbeat, gentlemen." Ka! Ka! Ka!
there, man.
Everybody in the club knows exactly where the beat is because Donnie doesn't screw with that beat. He knows where it is and he knows where to put it. That's a difference in a guy who just plays loud.
Right.
In charge is different than loud. Confident and in charge. And let me tell you something. If you've never felt Rocky Raccoon groove, then you don't know what I'm talking
That's
about.
the toe tapper now.
Listen,
That's a toe tapper.
you listen to Rocky Raccoon and you don't go, "Oh yeah, that's a nasty." But I'm telling you, there was something, and it hit when we were in rehearsal, and it was like,
This is grooving, yeah.
yeah,
You know
but
what's-
it has nothing to do with what you played. It's how you played it.
Yeah, it's how they played it, and which is
It's how you
they
played it.
play. But it's how I played it. But and which may not be for everything. But you know, but when you have a band like what we had though, we covered everything. You had strings up there, you had horn section, you had all the vocals, you had all the guitar players, the lead guys. Your dad was there playing. I mean, you can't go wrong. I mean, I mean, it was Ringo Starr is. You know, the funny thing about Ringo is everybody says, "Yeah, you know, there's so many better drummers." It's like, well, technical.
Define better.
You know, define better. But you know, I guess technically, you know, maybe so. Yeah, obviously, there's all kind of incredible drummers with all this independence and crazy stuff, but they're also playing stuff that lends to that.
Yep.
They can. That's why they're there. They're on that gig because they can do that stuff.
Yep.
Well, Ringo was on that gig because he sounded like Ringo, and he made all those hits.
Oh, yeah.
So
Regardless
Ringo,
of what-
sorry, it doesn't matter.
Regardless
You
of
know,
what Bernard
so-
Purdy says.
And all, yeah, exactly, right. So
Purdy
but
says he was on all the Beatles records.
yeah,
Like, shut up. Like, dude, you're the
Yeah,
man, and you've been on a
well,
lot of records.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
did?
he. Well, I think he actually did do some recording with him, but not probably what he
Not what he says.
Nah, I doubt it. But
Yeah.
Ringo came up with all those cool drum parts that, honestly, I would have never thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like, and you know, is it technically complicated? No,
Yeah.
not really.
Why would it not
But
stop?
it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah. Another really cool thing about him is the and for those of you who are watching this that know, you know, you know a lot about music and music, you know, trivia and that kind of thing. You know this, but Ringo, you know, set up in a right-handed drum set, but he's a lefty.
yeah.
So that's one of
Exactly.
the unique parts of his drumming is he
Yeah.
led with the left hand on everything, whereas most
Yeah.
guys would lead with the right.
He kept time with his right hand.
Yep, but he led all of his
Oh,
fills.
okay.
Yeah, he was open-handed.
Okay,
But he's
okay.
left-handed, but he played a right-handed drum set. So basically, you know, like Carter Beauford on,
Yeah.
you know, Lenny White.
Lenny White was a lefty.
I think Dennis
Ian.
Chambers.
Yep.
No. Dennis Chambers, I think is. Yeah, he's open. They're all open-handed, so they play a normal set, but
they're not
with their left
crossed.
hand.
See, Ian Pace
So-
is left, but plays left.
He plays the left.
crosses,
He switches everything over like Rod Morgan's team, the Dregs, and all those
Okay.
guys. But you know, as a right-handed drummer, my left hand is okay. I mean, it's, you know, but as a left-handed drummer, open-handed drummer, they're more ambidextrous, so their right hand is almost as good as their left hand.
Right.
So you know what they do, Carter Beauford, and the way they lay their drums out, it's a lot more choices. There.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you think differently. If you are leading with your left hand, and I'm leading with my right, it's going to sound different.
Mhm.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and you're going to end up in a different
You're gonna
spot.
voice things
So,
different.
Yeah.
Your vocabulary changes.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, tell us one more story, and then we're gonna get on with this top five. Tell Justin, if he doesn't know, and tell the people watching
Yeah.
about the time that you turned down the John Mayer gig.
Well,
Oh!
I don't know if I would have gotten the gig, but I didn't turn it down. I was offered to come play with them to see if I would have, you know, fit
Okay.
the bill.
But he was
You know,
nobody at the time.
and John Mayer was basically unheard of at the time. Just playing small clubs. It was him and a bass player and a guy and driving them around the country. And they got my name from. They actually played somewhere in I think it was Amos's uptown, a long time.
Oh, yeah.
This was years ago. And a buddy of mine went to the show, and there was hardly anybody there. And he was asking about a drummer, any good drummers around the area or wherever, and he told him about me.
Mhm.
And I guess he did a little bit of research and stuff. So he did. I got a call from the bass player,
Yeah.
and the whole thing took the whole involvement with these guys. It took probably about 3 months.
Mm.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
from the first call, and we tried to hook up, and I was busy. They were busy. They had to get on the plane
too
early.
busy to play
so,
with John
yeah,
Mayer.
yeah, so I mean, you know, and again, so they sent me the copy, the record, CD. The new CD was coming out on Sony Records,
Right.
and that was
Room for Squares.
And so the record company sent me the album. I of course charted it out, right, just in
Yeah.
case we get to go jam or when, you know, we were trying to hook up, and they kept calling and calling, and then I said, okay, yeah, I can do that. Then they'd call, man, we got to leave early. We got, you know, it was just we kept missing each
Right,
other.
yeah.
It was like, so I get a phone call one day. It was a Sunday afternoon, and my family was in town.
Yeah.
And we were down the street from my house at my nephew's house, hanging out, and I get a call from the bass player. He said, man, you got to come to New York. I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
all right. Is there, you know, when? Today. I was like, today? Do you have a ticket for me? Nah, man.
Yeah.
I said, I can't go buy a ticket right now.
Yeah.
First of all, how much would a ticket cost just
Yeah.
to jump on a plane to New
Sure.
York? Like right now, I gotta go to New York. And he said they're having auditions up there, and he said everybody was just not cutting it. He said it was terrible.
Right.
You know, groove was terrible. Tempo's up and down, you know, and that's why I feel pretty confident that I would have probably got the gig, at least for a little while anyway.
Sure,
he,
yeah,
he
yeah.
goes through a lot of drummers, you know. I don't know if you
Right.
know that, but he
I didn't
does.
know that, yeah.
Well, but and they're all great drummers. He probably just likes different sounds. But anyway, I said I can't do that. And he said, all right, well, we're going to be at the House of Blues in Myrtle Beach in a couple of weeks. I said, hey, I'm playing like an hour from there.
Yeah.
I'll be down there actually. He said, well, maybe we'll hook up during the day. He said, just bring some brushes. Just bring. I said, all right.
Yeah.
So get down there, and he called me. He said, man, we got to go. We can't stick around. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
So then I actually went to see him in Asheville playing.
Yeah.
Stills the
Orange
Duo.
Peel or something?
No, it was a smaller club. I forgot the name
Oh,
of it.
it's a little, yeah.
The place was packed. It was all, all the girls were there. And so they came over after the show, and I talked to them for a second. And I knew then that they had already gotten somebody. He didn't really say. He's like, man, yeah. So, but they were just kept calling me and calling me. I was like,
dang, man.
Who knew, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Who knew?
and yeah, like, what are you gonna do?
You wouldn't know.
At that
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
he was nobody, so it wasn't like you could have.
Well, the thing was, is I was working all the time, and I was like, well, I'm gonna give up all my work, and I have, I have a house, and
Sure.
family.
Oh, and you were killing it at the time.
Oh yeah, I was. I was working at the karaoke, playing all the time,
Yeah.
and
You were becoming Donnie freaking
like-
United States Marshall.
and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this up to go on another songwriter.
That's right.
Jeez,
That's
Yeah.
it.
my bad.
That's great. That's great. All right, so look, let's do this. Let's jump into this thing.
All right.
Donnie, here's the way we roll, man. We're gonna go 5-1. Our favorite being the last one we do. So and they need to be in order. Okay. So your number 5 favorite drummer. Shall we begin?
Let's do it.
It shall begin. All right, Donnie. There you go.
Okay, so favorite to me, right?
Favorite? Yeah. That's a good thing. I'll cover that real quick.
Yeah.
So this is, so I'm a good example for this because, Caleb has drummed a lot. You've been a career drummer your whole life. I'm not a drummer.
Okay.
So this is, even for me, like this is just subjective. Who do I like to listen to?
Yeah.
And then talk. I'll talk a little bit like this is why I like to listen to them.
Okay.
So but with your insight, just however you shake it down, man. Yeah.
Well, and you guys probably may not know some of these guys.
Yeah.
May
But
not.
to me, when I was young, growing up in the, especially more so in the 80s, I would have to say.
Yeah.
The guys that were, and I had gotten into jazz and fusion kind of before that, early 80s. And somebody turned me on to Chick Corea. And so I got in, started listening to him. And then he had, of course, all the great drummers, Lenny White, Dave Weckl, Vinnie Colaiuta. He's played with everybody you can imagine, Tom Breckline. So, but one of the records was, it was a Return to Forever album. And it was, I think his wife, Gail Moran, is a singer. And they actually came to Charlotte. I said, oh God, I gotta see this. I saw him at Evans Auditorium, went to Evans Auditorium and saw the drummer. And at the time I didn't know who the drummer was. But this is cool because the drummer, when I came in, I saw these drums and I was like, oh my God, what are those?
Yeah.
They were called North drums. Do you remember North, where the drums went out like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
White North, no, I think it was black or yellow because they made 3 or 4 colors.
Yeah.
Red, black, and yellow, and blue or something. So he had this set up there, and I was like, oh my God, what are those? He started playing, and I was just, I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. So I was, at the time, also working at that was before Reliable Music when I was in retail, a long time ago. But when I got a job at Reliable Music, I bought a North drum set. I had one.
Nice.
I played it a lot.
Yeah.
And so that drummer was Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown.
Jerry Brown, with a G, G-E-R-R-Y, Jerry Brown. And he, of course, he's played with, session guy, played with everybody. He played with Stevie Wonder a lot, played with Diana Ross. He's, the list is just endless as far as sessions.
Oh, that's
and things
awesome.
go
Yeah.
like that, And even a friend of mine, Rodney Shelton, producer, songwriter, he was producing this girl. This is a funny story too. And he went out. He was this is when Rodney was living in L.A. for a while. He was producing this girl, and the girl said, "I got a drummer. He's coming over." And so to the session, and so it was Jerry Brown.
No.
Right. So Rodney's he said, Jerry Brown. He said, "Dude," he said, "you got to do me a favor and call my friend." So I was sitting at home one night, and Rodney called me from L.A. I said, "Hey man, how's it going?" He said, "I got somebody wants to talk to you real quick." And he said, "Hey Donnie, it's Jerry Brown." I'm like, "What?" And I just couldn't believe it. He was one of the reasons that I really
Oh, that's
stayed.
great.
That's awesome.
So Jerry Brown, and I told him I had my North drums. He said he still has his. He had flames painted on them.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
great.
But black and flames coming out. So Jerry Brown was one of my first
Yeah.
influential guys where it just floored me.
That's
That's
killer,
great.
man.
And that's just that he sticks out. There's a lot of them, but
Yeah.
so Jerry Brown is probably
Awesome.
would be number 5 for me.
Awesome. All right.
What you got?
So number 5 for me, you're going to have to know a brief, not a long, but this is a brief backstory. I am a connoisseur of 60s pop music. I love it. And I love all things 60s music. I really do. The psychedelic era, I just every bit of it. And I don't care if it's the Mamas and the Papas, the Monkees, it doesn't matter. Any of it. I love it. So it's no shock that one of my favorite drummers is Hal Blaine.
Yep.
Because Hal Blaine was the drummer for all of
Wrecking
those,
Crew.
for every one of those songs.
Yeah.
And he was, I would say that the guy, would you not say that he had jazz chops for days? But that's not what he did.
He
did-
played what he needed to play.
Yeah, he did whatever he had to
He was an
do.
incredible drummer.
But there's every now and then you get these moments. Played for Elvis. I mean,
Yeah.
like everybody. Every now and then there's these moments when you go, yeah, that's Hal Blaine.
Yeah.
Like those flashy moments come out every now and then.
Yeah.
So for me, Hal Blaine.
Oh, that's he's he is probably the most recorded drummer.
Oh, really?
That's what I was gonna
He
say.
probably
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Also, Hawaii 5-0. Didn't you do that?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, did he?
I think so.
I think he did everything. I think
60s.
every TV
Yeah.
show, the Batman theme,
Yeah, Batman,
dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, like all that's Hal Blaine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's. I mean, he was. Those dudes made more money than Davy Crockett's, to quote Forrest Gump. He was on everything, and they
Yeah.
just stayed booked all the time.
Yeah.
Fire away, Jay. What's your number 5?
What you got?
My number 5 is the drummer for a heavy band called Clutch. John Paul Gaster is his name.
I've heard of Clutch.
Yeah, so Clutch is they're probably my favorite like metal band, we're gonna call it that, or heavy band.
Heavy band, yes.
And for a heavy band, we were talking a little bit earlier about metal drummers and the speed and the double bass and the. They're not like
No.
that. They groove. He
Yep.
lays it down, and I've seen some interviews with him. He likes vintage drums. He seems to. I mean, I don't know anything about that stuff, but appreciate kind of the history of drums and what he has. Isn't a real modern kind of contemporary guy, but he likes old snares and old stuff, and
It fits.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he grooves, man, and I just really like his drumming. So,
Yeah.
John Paul Gasker.
That's a cool pick, actually.
Yeah.
I've seen.
That's a
it,
cool band.
Yeah, I've seen his name.
Oh,
in,
keep going on the
videos
top.
and-
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like his drumming a whole lot. Yeah.
All right, Donald, number
Number
4.
Ooh.
That was together.
We're on it.
4.
Well, so this guy, you've probably never heard of him, and he really played. He played with a lot of folks, but he really only played with a couple of people that really kind of got him out there. But chops for days, but he played once again played the music in his groove. When I heard him, because I was a big Luther Vandross fan.
Okay.
I still am.
Yeah.
I mean, who's not, right? And I remember taking my nephew, and my nephew was like 13 years old, to the Charlotte Coliseum, which was on Independence Bowl, Bojangles Arena. Now,
Oh, yeah.
to see, because I took him over there, and here I was, still had my long blonde hair, was pretty young, went into this concert, and Luther Vandross was playing, and I never really knew who was on the album at the time.
Yeah.
I just just always loved his tunes, and there's a tune called Bad Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And the stage, they had a stage, like a big living room, and so it was like gonna have a party. It was like his house, and Jerry Brown, of course, he sounded great all night long, but he got to, he'd do some stuff. But it wasn't not Jerry Brown, I'm sorry, but the drummer.
Your number 4 is Jerry Brown
number,
also?
Yeah, my number 4 guy. So I looked him up, right? and it was Yogi Horton.
Okay.
Yeah.
He played with Ashford and Simpson, I think. Ashford and Simpson. And just a lot of other people. But his main gig was Luther Vandross. And, I mean, he had the best gig out there, right?
Right.
And I think he from what I heard, that, you know, he wanted to do other stuff, but, I mean, God, man, you know, he had a red carpet gig. I mean, how often those things come along? But I think he would prefer to do some jazz or, you know, fusions or just go in some different stuff. But I think he ended up taking his life. But I don't know if that was the whole reason.
Mm-hmm.
But he was unhappy. But he ended up taking his life. But once I saw him and heard him, and of course I always listened to Luther, I just dug into the guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
The guy was just incredible. So Yogi Horton.
That's awesome. You're right, dude. I'm gonna have to look some of these guys
Oh,
up.
absolutely. I don't know Yogi Horton.
No, I don't either. That's great.
That is good. What
All
you
right.
got? See.
So number 4 for me is a gimme, and I know that everybody. I mean, this is like okay, yeah, you put him on there. But if we're just talking about imposing, color-driven, texture powerhouse, like, and I know you wouldn't think of those two things as being together, like texture, color painter, and powerhouse, but Elvin Jones. And I know that as a general consensus, he's on everybody's list, and that's kind of a gimme. But but I mean, whatever, Elvin Jones. I'm not gonna not put him on my list because he's a popular drummer.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So you gotta have Elvin on.
Oh yeah.
Elvin
It's just a
Jones.
unique style, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Alabama is Alabama just always struck me as a phenomenal thing that he just for him, and there are other tunes where he's far more, you know, powerful and or no there are not, sorry, where he's far more technical and where he does far more things, but I don't think anything more powerful than the way he colored that Alabama scene when Coltrane did the tune, you know, about the bombing of the church down in Alabama.
right. Yeah.
Elvin Jones is awesome. All right, go ahead, Jay. Number 4.
Cool. My number 4 was the drummer for Aquarium Rescue Unit, and has his own trio, Jeff
Apartment
Sipe.
2.
Yeah.
Jeff
yeah.
Sipe,
I
yeah.
studied with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I took lessons from him. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So I've got I think his most recent trio album is really good. It's him, a guitar player and a bass player, and I like him a lot. I like the stuff with Aquarium Rescue Unit. I've heard him. He's kind of in that jam band family of music, and so I've heard him sit in on different people's recordings and stuff. So I mean, he's a really good drummer. I like Jeff Sipe.
He is.
He plays with Jeff Coffin, the sax player.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
Dave Matthews.
He's in the
Yeah,
Mutet
yeah.
That's right. I've got some of their
with
stuff.
Felix Pastorius.
Oh
Yeah.
absolutely.
What a band.
That is a dope band,
Yeah.
man.
Kofi was in that band, wasn't
Kofi
he?
was
yeah.
Al's Greens, that tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kofi
Mercy.
was in that band. That's cool.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
There is not a sadder loss in the last 10 years for me musically than Kofi Burbridge.
Oh.
Like Chris Cornell and a lot of people. But Kofi was a Charlotte native.
And he was a
and-
substantial musician.
And
not just a celebrity. He
No.
was a
And
substantial
his brother
player.
Oteil.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're tops. I mean,
And they both played with Jeff Sipe in Aquarium. Well,
Yep.
Kofi wasn't in Aquarium Rescue, but
no, but
I think he played with him sometimes though.
yeah.
He always played. He was always in and out of around. He played piano and flute as well.
Flute.
yeah,
Right.
organ,
Organ, yeah.
That Bela Fleck kind of government mule, frog wings, Colonel Bruce Hampton, like that whole thing. They just kind of all were like this. I feel like they just all
Meshed
played
up
on
together.
Yeah, they all played on everything. That's a good pick.
So Jeff Sipe's my number 4.
Very nice. All right, Donnie, number 3.
Well, who wouldn't want to say Vinnie Colaiuta?
I knew somebody was going to say yeah.
I mean, it's just
Exactly.
And the guy can go play with Faith Hill, right, and record with Faith Hill, in an odd time signature, and still, I mean, it's like, and it's a hit for Faith Hill, right? I mean, who can do that? Who can Sting? He's playing, all these odds, and it's like, it's the smoothest cat, and
Yeah, he really
chops for days, but yet he listens and
Total
You know,
package.
Yeah, he was doing the Jeff Beck tour with what's the little young bass player?
Tal.
Wilkenfeld. And I've seen some of that stuff, and it's just like, and you're talking about confidence and control in a band. It's he's listening, but
he's driving.
You got to play.
Yeah, he's
he's
sure.
He's gonna make you play.
He's in charge.
Yeah. So and of course all the people he's played with over the years, I've just been a big fan of his, and who wouldn't he would inspire you to play for sure.
Yeah,
good pick.
His stuff with Beck was inspiring. I mean, like you could see him lift Beck. Like, and Beck is a guy who's always on the edge, anyways. You know, it's like, boy, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. Here it comes. But then, like, because he
pushed him and pushed him and pushed him, and it's just like he took it further and further and further, and it's like,
oh yeah,
that's so good.
Great.
Yeah, that is good stuff.
So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a rock drummer in on mine.
Okay.
All right, and there's not there's not gonna be a lot of rock drummers in my list. It's just they're difficult to put above some of the others. Drums, I think, are a very big. The powerhouse is a lot of the fusion and that kind of thing. But so I'm gonna go with Matt Cameron as my number 3.
Oh man, I was this close to having Matt Cameron on mine.
I'm gonna tell you something. Matt Cameron, gentlemen,
he's good, man.
That is not a typical, backbeat pocket drummer. This is an unusual drummer, and you almost have to be to play in a band like Soundgarden. Like, so there's nothing normal about Soundgarden music. Like, there's nothing normal about it. You know that everything is like, I don't know what the chorus is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it. In a way, I kind of
art rock kind of.
It really is. I kind of think they're like Tool in some ways, but cooler. Did I say that out loud?
Tool. I've not. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sidetrack. Squirrel.
But
Tool's a cool band.
But Matt Cameron is a guy who puts things in their place when you go, and it does. Rock music doesn't typically make me go, like that. Because there's not usually a lot of exploration. There's songs.
Mm-hmm.
You like the heavy riffs and you like the feel of it, but there's not a lot of movement to rock. Yeah. In an exploration type of way.
Yeah.
Matt Cameron, I feel like, puts exploration in his playing where it's like he's just not typical.
Right.
And I definitely think of all the '90s guys, like,
he's definitely the best.
Yeah. So anyways, Matt Cameron, number 3.
Excellent choice.
Best in the '90s rock camp, I would say. All right, my number 3 is Billy Martin of Medeski, Martin and Wood.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like their stuff a lot. Again, it's kind of that hip hop sort of a drum feel.
Yeah.
Dude's always solid.
Man, and if you've not, I know this is the top 5 drummers. Medeski, Martin and Wood, y'all gotta check them out. This is one of the coolest instrumental groups out there. Everything is tasteful and simple, and
funky,
funky,
funky and just.
They've got this 3-album set called Radio Larians that's real kind of out there, but it'll be Space Cadet, weird, like noise, art stuff. Yeah. And then like this dope groove just comes in. It's Billy Martin. Yeah. And so he takes this thing and just gives it substance,
Yeah. He also coached a pretty nasty Yankee team in the 70s, so that's great.
Billy Martin.
That's right.
Speaking of drums.
Speaking of drum jokes.
Oh boy. We're getting tight, boys.
Billy Martin. Yep, number 3 for me.
We're getting down the wire here with 2 and 1. All right.
Donnie's number 2.
Donnie, let's see what you got, brother. Number 2. We get coming down the pipe here.
So in the 90s, into the 2000s, I had a house gig with a jazz fusion band. We were playing 5 nights a week.
Oh wow.
And I was a young guy. I was in my very early 20s, and we played. I had a house gig at it's called Good Time Charlie's out on Independence Boulevard. It was a hotel, Ramada Inn, but inside this restaurant or this bar, it was a phone booth. You walk down the hall and there's a phone booth, right? And you go in the phone booth and you pick the phone up, and the door opens up, and it's this bar, right? A good time called Charlie. Good Time Charlie's. So but they wanted to have jazz, so we along with Ziad and some other guys in town, Rick Blackwell, we put together this band, and it was called Spectrum. The first band was called Spectrum, which turned into Ivory. But we had a house gig there 5 nights a week for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
5 nights a week, playing George Duke, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, all the R&B stuff, all the May stuff, Earth, that's where I grew right there. I was like, wow, playing all the styles of music. But at the time, Uplands Auditorium, Bojangles Arena, or the Charlotte Coliseum, it was right down the street. That's where everybody stayed.
Right.
So they came in there. Prince came in there before he was huge. Mother's Finest used to come in there a lot. I remember Engelbert Humperdinck was staying there, and the drummer and the band, they all sat in with us, and I still talk to the guy, the drummer Tony Savage in Vegas, but he plays with everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry to make the list, Tony.
Really. So we so everybody would stay there. So I remember Dennis Chambers was in town with Parliament and Funkadelics, and P-Funk was in town for 5 nights. They stayed there at the Coliseum Inn for 5 nights. They were rehearsing and stuff, but they only did one show in the Coliseum, but they were there all week. So Dennis Chambers was coming in, and a lot of the guys in the band was, right? And they were sitting in. And that's the first time I met Dennis Chambers. And at the time, I had this new Gretsch set that I bought from, and I had 3 floor tom-toms, right? I took a smaller tom and put legs on it, and I had 3, because because my second drummer he inspired me to do that.
Yeah.
And Dennis Chambers came in and said, "Dude, you got 3 floor tom-toms?" And he's like, "Man, that's all." It's like, well, you can have anything you want, probably. And he was just then starting to get into the scene,
really,
like New York, and he was doing some gigs with David Sanborn. He was telling me about.
Wow.
And, but that was way back in the day, right? And so,
that's wild.
he saw these 4 tom-toms. He says, "Tony Williams." I was like, "Duh." Yes, Tony Williams. They're not yellow Gretsch, but they're Gretsch, right? He had the yellow Gretsch drums, right?
Yeah.
But Tony Williams is my second choice. Of course, the great jazz drummer, played with Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock. He had his own bands, and just his way he approached jazz.
Yeah.
If you ever heard of Lenny Kravitz, his drummer he used for a long time, Cindy Blackman.
Yeah.
Playing with Santana now. Well, she's actually married to Santana.
No kidding.
Yes, she married Santana.
Oh, wow.
And Joe Lindsay, guitar player, right?
Yeah.
I think she was at Berkeley when he was there. If I'm not
I'll be
mistaken.
dang.
But anyway, she sounds just like Tony.
Really?
Yeah, she sounds great. He influenced all these people.
Yeah.
He influenced all these guys, Vinnie's, Weckles, all those guys.
And Tony was a kid. Tony was a freaking kid.
He was 16 playing with 15
Miles.
or 16 playing with Miles Davis.
Yeah.
So
Really?
So there you have it. But he's got his own albums, The Joy of Flying.
Which is why he's not that old now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not that old now.
Well, he died.
Or I'm saying he would have
passed-
been
wouldn't
like
that old.
70-something years old.
Yeah, he wouldn't have
yeah.
been that old now. Yeah.
He died early, right?
50s? He died back in late 90s.
In his 50s, though, right?
Probably. He passed on in 97.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Huh.
Man, all those guys died young.
I know. It's terrible. But anyway, Tony, he influenced me, and just, I was a Tony Williams freak for years.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
You know, like Robert Plant's not that old right now.
Because he was a kid
Because
when
they were so
started.
young. That's what I'm saying. Some of those guys that started so young are not that old. Okay.
What you got?
All right. This one is this was a hard one for me not to put at number 1. And I think all my number 2 and number 1s in these top 5s are kind of like, I don't know which one to put. This is a hard one. I gave him number 2. He could easily be number 1. He's a powerhouse, funk machine, groove machine, technical virtuoso, tasteful. Everything you can throw at it is Billy Cobham.
Oh, yeah.
I love Billy Cobham.
Spectrum. We named that band because of that album.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, Spectrum.
Yeah.
So Billy Cobham, Billy hits the drums with a thunderous force.
Open-handed left-handed drummer again.
And there's a there's a power there that's not in a lot of drummers.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's almost like a rawness. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not that there's not that Vinnie Colaiuta polished smoothness to Billy. It's like it's like a raw,
He's
almost
like
garage
an explosion.
Yeah.
It's like it's just like it explodes. It's just tense and explosive, and I couldn't. Yeah, Mahavishnu.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
my God, yes.
Yeah, and if you wanna like just a quintessential Billy Cobham moment, listen to You Know on the Mahavishnu Intermounting Flame. And the song is actually in 4/4, but Billy Cobham will convince you otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's all messed up.
it's all, I mean, and you sit there and go, there's no way this song's in
Tap
4.
my foot to that
I
one.
promise it is. All right, Jay, number 2, who you got?
Number 2 for me is Sput Seawright, Robert Seawright II. He's the drummer for Snarky Puppy.
Oh yeah. Oh, what a great drummer.
I think he's played with a lot of people, and they've got several drummers. Like Larnell Lewis has played on is another drummer that's been on a lot of their stuff, and that jazz fusion with like gospel feel thing is really taken off. I mean, there's Snarky Puppy, the Funky Knuckles. I mean, there's several Ghost Note, several of these groups who with Mono Neon, the bass player, that do this kind of thing. But I think, if I understand right, and this is why I picked him on this list instead of Larnell Lewis or some of these other guys, this is kind of, he was sort of the one to break into that, to bringing that feel from the drums perspective onto that scene in Texas that kind of has turned into this whole North Texas, Dallas.
North Texas State, yeah.
Was he the gospel?
He was I think the gospel influence of that, but where that melded with the jazz thing, I think that he is kind of the drum piece to it.
I think it's good that we have a gospel drummer represented because it's such a new. It's not it's not an old school way of playing it. That's a modern thing, but it's amazing.
But the pockets that they use though are to me old school because an older drummer that you guys probably don't know that was in town for years, a lot like Bernard Purdy, and they kind of look and act like Bernard Purdy, kind of, but he was.
Who is a character, by the way.
Yes, he is.
I mean,
he is for sure. I have a story about him too. But oh God, no! Now I just his name just slipped my mind. Don.
Give him a moment of silence.
Yeah, give me enough.
Here it goes.
Come on, Donnie.
Don Thompson.
There you go.
There it is.
Don Thompson.
He breathed.
It's like a shuffle, like the Purdy shuffle. He had his own shuffle, and he was old school. Played an old set of Ludwig Vista lights with the bottom heads off. No bass, front bass drum head.
Oh wow.
And man, that whack, but that feel, it was just that whack, the snare.
Yeah.
It's gospel, but it's not anywhere where to the level it is now. It's the old school feel, but now
there's almost no dynamics now.
Isn't a lot of it about moving the? I was watching Donnie. You might know what I'm talking about and be able to interpret for me and translate. But a lot more about moving the bar line.
They're playing over the bar line. Yeah, so they may play a 2 or 3 bar or 4 bar phrase, but a lot of it is over the bar. So you're really,
So you kind of don't know. It
you're
makes
not quite
it seem
sure where
like
they're going with it, and then with the kicks and the accents that they're doing musically with the keyboards, almost like horn kits and stuff like that. It's you're not quite sure where the time is, but they just got it down. They got all these patterns figured out and had them. And to me, it's just like some of that stuff is absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah,
and
but a lot of it to me also the feel. It's hard to tell the drummers, the different drummers, if you know what I mean.
They do mimic each other so well.
Yeah, they're all playing that same.
It's the same style.
It's the same thing that happens in modern praise and worship music in churches with guitar players.
Yeah.
They all sound the same.
Yeah.
Right. But it's a on the gospel drumming side, it's a cool thing. But the thing is, all of the guys that do the gospel drumming, and like you said, like gelling with the keys players like they do, it's because they all are coming from the same basic place.
Yeah.
They're all in that place. Gospel doesn't mean necessarily. I mean, gospel means the good news, but gospel drumming means something totally different. But it actually does come from the church.
Yeah.
And like that's where it actually has
Yeah,
got its
and
legs.
I totally respect that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of great gospel drummers in this area.
Oh,
for
man,
sure.
yeah.
You know, Brian.
Yeah.
All these guys, man, they're so good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
Number one.
It's down the wire now. This
Yeah.
is when it gets real. Donald,
Well,
choose wisely.
Oh, I will. This is again. There's so many drummers to choose from, and it's hard to just put a pin on one. So, like I said, I picked who influenced me the most
Okay.
in all styles of music, because he plays all styles of music, and he's on every, especially in the '80s and '90s, and even today. I saw him last year, matter of fact, up in New York. I went to see him with Chick Corea at the Blue Note, playing my favorite album, Chick Corea album, which is called Three Quartets, with Eddie Gomez on bass, and unfortunately Michael Brecker, the sax player on the album, he had passed, so they had another guy, Steve Gadd.
Yeah.
You know, you know, when I was coming up,
He
like
really can do everything.
he can. He listens to the singer. You know, it's like Brock and I were talking, and actually he hired Steve Gadd to play on one of Janis Ian records, and he
Jim Brock did?
Yeah, so he he got to, you know, help produce and work on and play on that record, and he hired Steve Gadd, so he got to work with Gadd, and you know he can just hit. First of all, he can hit a snare drum, and you know who it is.
Yeah.
How many people can do that?
Right.
That's the signature in sounds these days. It's hard. It's like Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know him. You know Hendrix, you know all these great guitar players, all these great bass players, right? You know, by the way they play, you know, and the touch and the sound. So it's a signature, and he still sounds like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, he's played with everybody, obviously, and the hits that he's played on
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
is endless.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you ever see? There's a YouTube clip. Looks like from the late '70s, early '80s. It's 3 drummers on stage. It looks like, I think it's Dave Weckl, Vinnie Colaiuta,
And Gadd.
and Steve Gadd. And it was like Weckl and Colaiuta were just I mean,
burning.
they're just burning. And Gadd just could not stop grooving. And it was like, I mean, it really was. It was like, I don't have to prove myself here, boys. Like, these two guys were like, Dad's like,
And then, you know, he would get into, and when he did do that, you know, his sound influenced everybody. You know,
Yeah.
Especially those two drummers. Dave Weckl, he influenced those two.
Really?
Guys. Oh my God, yeah. They grew up listening to Gadd, okay?
Yeah.
And Tony Williams and those cats. So, now I know it's the Buddy Rich concerts.
Yeah.
And they're playing with the Buddy Rich band, and when he gets to Gadd, he's like, he'd do all his triplet stuff, and the crowd was just like,
But it never stopped grooving. It was just,
never let up. And it's like, you know,
he was on Journey to
something
Love.
said,
Oh,
you
sure.
know.
Journey to Love was one of my favorite records growing up. My dad always played it, the Stanley Clarke record, and he was on that record, and it was I remember that was one of my earliest memories of him.
If I'm not mistaken, and I never knew this, I think it was called, was it Do the Hustle? Do the Hustle.
Mhm. That's Steve.
He played it. Was a song,
Really?
I think it was a song like that. It may have been that one.
Wow.
It was one of
So
like,
literally
that's him.
covers it all from
Yeah.
Clapton.
To disco.
There was
He did a whole run. I think
Clapton.
he is Clapton's drummer.
Yeah,
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
still even.
Oh, that's like
Yeah. All right.
So
Good.
he's number one.
Steve Gadd. All right. Number 1, Lenny White.
Yeah.
Just- I don't. I mean, whatever. I don't.
I knew you were gonna pick him.
Yep. Lenny White. And Lenny is versatile as well. Lenny's flashy without being super polished. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Lenny is still raw, and most of my guys are raw actually,
Yeah.
which is odd. You know, I guess that's something I go for. I didn't put the Portnoys and the stuff like that on there. I really like the guys where you can still kind of get some stank on it a little bit, and Lenny White is no exception. When my dad gave me Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior, when I was a younger guy, and one of the things I noticed was obviously the how's how you say it? Synchronicity.
I think that's it.
Yeah, of that unit playing all those complex lines. But something that really stood out to me was the crispness and the accuracy of the drums.
Yeah.
And his the open-handed feel, like you said. So Lenny would put the big, the ride right over the hi-hat, and play much like Carter does. But the song "Romantic Warrior," which was the acoustic piece on that record, when Lenny comes in, he has this, I don't know how they did it, and I could look into it, and Donnie could probably tell us, but there's this incredibly, and I know I just said he sounded raw, but there's this incredibly tight sound and snare that's just like, dude.
I think what it is the old put your wallet on the snare drum sound.
Yeah. Yep.
You take your wallet and you put it, and that was the sound.
Yeah, and you literally hear it sounds like he's buzz rolling, not drag rolling. It's like buzz rolling with one hand. It's like. It's amazing. Lenny White, number one.
Yeah, great choice.
The Lenny White, the first time I remember distinctly hearing him, because he was on the Jocko's record, right?
The first one?
Yeah.
Was he?
I think it was on, if not the whole thing, I know he was on the track. It's the title of the song is like a time signature or like a fraction, something over something.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
The 6/8.
Oh, that's the name of it, you mean?
Yeah, is the name of the tune on the Jocko album. And it's Lenny White playing on that. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, whoever it is playing on it.
If it's not, it should have been.
It's dope. It sounds really good.
If it's not, he's my favorite drummer.
That guy. But that is what I think of with Lenny White just from taking in that Jocko's album. So my number one is Billy Cobham.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my number one's Billy Cobham. You know. It's one of what I was thinking about too. But really just Mahavishnu and taking that in, which is a very crazy sound in the fusion world anyway. Mm-hmm. And he you would think like maybe in a group like that, like the drummer's going to level him out or something. Or the drummer's going to make everything a little bit, kind of give everything. He's right in there with John McLaughlin. It's almost like, think about McLaughlin's guitar playing.
Yeah.
And he's right there. But it's like, it fits so perfect. When you're talking, all the stuff y'all said, I'm not going to restate it. He's a powerhouse, he's explosive, it's everything, but it's so right too. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that stuff is so busier than there's so much to it.
Well, it's an orchestra, and they're trying to create that.
And it's man.
It's and they're together, and it's.
He's incredible. I mean, it's incredible to listen to.
I got you. He's the Keith Moon of jazz drummers.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good point. Yeah.
There
He's
you go.
the Keith Moon of jazz drummers.
It's like bombastic, just an explosion.
Yeah.
It's like Keith Moon just was just like, what did you do there? It didn't make sense, but somehow it's just like that was.
I've always, as long as I've known of Billy Cobham, said that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
He's it. So.
That's a good call. And then, like I said, that was a tough one with me to go Lenny White or Billy Cobham.
Yeah.
I had to go with Lenny White because I've been, I don't know, Lenny, there was a little bit more sentiment wrapped up in Lenny White, I think.
Did you look up that tune?
Yeah, it was him.
It was him?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So,
good.
check out that Jocko album.
Yeah.
You get another coffee cup.
So,
That's right.
I got a couple, and I won't say anything about all these guys, but a couple notable mentions, and actually you mentioned one of my favorites, Rod Morgenstein earlier.
Yeah.
Phenomenal drummer for the Dixie Dregs. I got a funny Rod Morgenstein story. You want to hear it, or should I just keep going?
No, I want to hear it.
Okay. So Rod was a professor at my school. Now I was in the guitar department, and Rod obviously was in the drum department. But we had a lot of my honorary mentions are in the drum department at Berkeley, and that was Kenwood Denard.
Oh God, yeah.
Who was Jocko's drummer.
Okay.
Yeah, jeez.
But and Rod Morgenstein was over there. So as part of a project I was working on, I was doing a recording of Blood Sucking Leeches, which is a Dixie Dregs tune, and I just I sat around and breathed in a brown paper bag and got my nerves up enough to finally go into Rod's office and ask him if he would come down. So I said, Rod, I said, hey, you know, first name basis, me and Rod.
Yeah, right.
I said, you know, would you want to come down and record? I'm doing one of your songs. Have I told you this story? Have I told you?
I know the story, but
have I said it on this show?
No, not on. I don't know if you said it on this show.
Oh, it's a funny story.
I've never heard this.
So he said, well, actually, I'm going to be in Japan. And I went, well, I didn't even tell you when I was recording.
Yeah.
I was like, well, okay. But so he said, well, just out of curiosity, what song are you recording? And I said, Blood Sucking Leeches. And he went, oh, which one is that? I was like, Rod,
Oh man,
these are your songs, man.
You want to hear my Rod story?
Yeah.
I'll make it quick. Long time ago, same band, Spectrum, I believe, Zed and Rick and some other guys. There was a club up in Blowing Rock, P.D. Scott's Music Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And we opened up for a lot of bands up there, Ramsey Lewis and Dixie Dregs.
Oh,
We
cool.
opened up for them a couple times. And I remember meeting him for the first time. And I took this little 4-piece old set I got at a pawn shop. It's looked like a Ringo set. It was Black Oyster, you know, but it was just a 20 kick, and it's a 4-piece set, had white coated heads on them. Yeah. They sounded great. And so we set up, out in front of the band. Rod had this huge drum. I think they were Fibes, the drums.
Yeah.
Fibes. Double bass. And of course, we were backstage with him. He's sitting there with, his feet, got these practice pad, and he's just talking, hey, man. So we went out there, we did our first set, our first show, and came off stage, and he was like, dude, what kind of drum heads are those? He said, those things sound amazing. I said, they're just white coated drum heads, He said, well, you tune them really well. I was like,
you should have told him the Chet Atkins line. You should have sat there and looked at him and go, how do they sound now?
yeah.
That's the famous Chet. They said, Chet, that guitar sounds really great. He sat it down and went, how's it sound now? That's a jerk move. Another notable mention for me is Billy Kilson.
Oh.
I love Billy Kilson, and he's actually a professor at Berkeley. Now, he was not there when I was there. Jack DeJohnette is another phenomenal drummer. Mickey Dolenz, eat it. I said Mickey Dolenz.
Okay.
I love Mickey Dolenz.
I like his hat. No, that was the other guy.
I like Dave Grohl, so that's.
I like his toboggan.
That was yeah. Yeah, that was Nesmith, Michael Nesmith.
Michael Nesmith.
Yeah, but Mickey Dolenz, Ian Pace.
Yeah.
Ian Pace is a phenomenal. Of all the rock drummers, Ian Pace is probably the most. Man, why does this keep? Stop. Ian Pace is probably the most technically efficient, and which fits because Deep Purple of all the old rock bands is probably the most technically efficient band out there. In that old style, they were the neoclassical metal band before there was such a thing.
Right.
And Deep Purple was not, we'll talk about Purple later, but Pace was no exception to that. He was a phenomenal drummer.
Like a big band rock drummer.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
His
exactly.
hands were so fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's his trademark is his single stroke roll.
Oh,
like
yeah.
he's got
Really?
like one of the fat. Yeah, that's his thing.
Highway Star.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had to do that.
Let's see. We should do that album. We should do Machine Head. I did it a long time ago.
We should do In Rock.
We should do In Rock and Machine Head.
In Rock's better.
You sing one album and I'll sing the next. Cause we ain't neither one of us is singing both of them.
That's right.
Let's see. Is there any more notable mentions before we check out?
Carter Beauford, I think he got brought up, but I mean Carter's good,
Jazz. Bill Stewart was a big. There's so many guys out there. Bill Stewart. There's so many. It's hard to.
Tito
name.
Puente.
Tito Puente. Sheila. There's just tons of them.
I said Billy Kilson.
Billy Kilson.
Dude, he's so good.
I saw him with trumpet player
Chris Bodie.
The first time, and he used my drums in Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he actually used my drums with Ovens, and he played the
This guy's
sickest,
the best.
the sickest drum solo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it was just like dynamics, and it was just it was like he told a story. I was like, oh my god.
There used to be a clip, and I can't find it anymore.
Is that the clip with the Chris Bodie at the drum?
Yes, where the band's
So
laying.
this is the guy y'all are talking about.
If this is the beat,
Yeah.
the band's laying this down. They go, no.
Oh, I remember that.
And everything's
And he
pushed.
solos over that,
Nothing's
yeah.
on the beat, and Billy's just like you said. I mean, he takes it down to like a whisper,
It was sick.
and then he'll build that thing up, and like just. And nothing felt better than that drum solo. That's probably my all-time favorite drum solo that I've ever heard.
Mm.
I love it.
He's amazing. I mean, first time I heard him.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Ginger Baker's a cool drummer.
Ginger Baker. is cool.
There's a difference in being a dope, nasty drummer and just being a cool drummer. Ginger Baker is a super cool drummer.
Mitch Mitchell's cool.
Mitch
Yeah.
Mitchell, they're all in here. All these guys are cool, man. Stuart Copeland.
I'll tell
Oh,
you.
Copeland,
Of course,
yeah.
John. We were talking about drummers here. We haven't even mentioned John Bonham, but you know.
How did John Bonham not get mentioned? Were
Well,
we all
well,
dodging it just because?
I think everybody dodged it because
Because
it's the gimme. But I also put Elvin Jones on there. But Brewer, Don Brewer.
Don Brewer.
Don Brewer.
That's
is
a good sounding snare
Grand
drum.
Funk. Yeah.
He's a tight drummer. Don Brewer is a rudimental style drummer in rock, which is at the time I'm not sure that was a really popular thing.
Yeah.
But
He had a whole sound.
yeah, and it was not a big fat heavy
All
sound.
you got is money at the beginning of that, and you can really hear it.
Yeah, it sounded more like that wallet on the snare drum, like zero,
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah.
almost like he had a marching
Yeah.
snare. Yeah, that's
Jim
it.
Keltner, Jim Gordon, all those
Yeah.
guys. They were the drummers for Bonnie Bramlin, who I played with for all those years, and she used to tell me stories about him. It was ridiculous.
Oh, really?
I was like, you told Jim Keltner what?
I'm gonna
You told what?
I'm gonna throw one more out there just for good measure. Mr. Ronnie Tutt on the drums.
Ronnie Tutt.
Dude, Ronnie Tutt, man, come
Ronnie
on.
Tutt played with Jerry Garcia band.
Did he?
Yeah.
Listen,
Really? I
Ronnie
didn't know
Tutt
that.
Yeah.
made Elvis do his thing at a higher level.
Oh, yeah.
And Elvis and Ronnie Tutt. All right, go ahead and say this. Elvis had the best band in show business. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw that out there. And I'm taking James Brown's band into consideration here.
Yeah.
That's a heavy thing to say.
Yeah.
But Ronnie Tutt on the drums. And he moved Elvis to levels that Elvis may not have moved to.
Who's Elvis's bass player?
Shep. What's his
I don't
name?
know.
Shep. I can't
Shep,
remember his
yeah,
first
yeah,
name.
yeah.
And then he had James Burton on guitar.
Mm-hmm. I knew.
Well, I tell you,
Yes.
we covered a lot of ground. There's a lot of good drummers out there. I had no idea that we would be able to talk this long, but there's so many out there that we've probably left out.
Oh,
but
keep going, yeah.
yeah, we could just talk another hour about it if you'd like. But let me just say that on behalf of Justin Moorhead and myself, Donnie, thank you for joining us, my friend.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure
Yeah,
having
great.
you on.
Thank you.
It's nice shaking. Look at that shake.
yeah.
Handshake.
That's right.
Where's my
Drummer's
Let
just
me cough into my. Yeah. Come on, pass the hand sanitizer. Hey, listen. Tune in next time, and we'll see you. Look forward to whatever we decide to discuss then. Signing out.
Peace out.
I got a long ride home.
Hey y'all, thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. See you next time.